Good morning. Welcome to the first day of school. Teachers, if you haven't already, please pass out those packets on your desk, one for each student. Before we get started, we just need to show some gratitude for some people who have definitely put in some overtime preparing for this school year. Our custodial staff, Mr. Cardy, our teachers, our support staff, every single one of the people who's employed by Rib Lake School District has really put in a lot of time and effort preparing for you guys. So thank you to them and all that they've done, as well as thank you to you guys. You've had a lot of patience and flexibility. It has not been an easy time lately for anyone, but especially you guys. So thank you for that. We have some new staff to welcome. Mrs. Winkler is teaching middle school and high school reading and English. Mr. Yanko is teaching high school Phi-Ed. We have Sarah Donahoe is going to be our night custodian at the high school. Michelle Ulrich is going to be our middle and high school student teacher with Mr. Dobbs and Ms. Radke. Tanya Berger is our high school secretary. Marshall Vaughn is our high school science teacher. And then Mrs. Ablin is going to be our Spanish short-term sub. So she'll be with us just for a short time. If you guys know of anyone who's able to take her, step into her shoes when she leaves us, we're looking for someone with a 4-year degree who speaks Spanish and who's good with kids, because we want only the best for you guys. So if you know anyone who fits that, please let us know. Just a few notes from me. I just want to say I'm really glad we're back. I missed you guys, just genuinely. I just love being around you, and it was a sad couple of months without being able to see you. So I'm glad we're here, and I want to keep it this way. But in order for us to stay in school, we do need to make some changes, and I know they're not everyone's favorite changes, but we do need to stick together and do what needs to be done so that we can be with one another. So I'm going to need your help with social distancing. If we're less than 6 feet apart for more than 15 minutes, people will have to quarantine, and that's not my rule, that's the health department's rule. So if we want to stay here, we need people here, and if we need people here, we're going to have to social distance. We also need masks, and that's per the governor's orders. If you have a medical reason not to wear a mask, you need to fill out that waiver form. It needs to be signed by a medical provider. And it needs to be returned. That's page 5 in your packet that you should have now. So if you want to turn to that. We also need to keep in mind hygiene. We need to hand sanitize as much as we can, and we need to wash our hands when possible. So keep those things in mind. I think the hardest for us is going to be social distancing, especially in those times like the hallway. So we really need to make sure that we're doing that. This year we'll continue to have that CARES model, that school-based mental health counseling. If you are interested, remember it's free, it's very discreet, no one knows that you're doing it essentially, and if you want more information on that or to register, stop by the office. School supplies, we do ask that all students come with the school supplies on the list. And that's because teachers aren't going to be able to allow students to use things like staplers as much, or scissors or markers or shared school supplies like that. So as prepared as you can be, the better. If providing anything, including even a water bottle, is difficult for you and your family financially, please reach out and let us know, and I will get that to you somehow. Handbook updates. Dress code, students should not wear or carry blankets, hats, or bandanas in school on your head. If you're wearing them as a mask, that's totally okay. Dual credit classes, if you choose to take a W or withdraw for one of your college classes if you're in high school, that will be considered unsuccessful completion, and you'll be required to pay for that, same as if it was a failure. If you are learning online independently, you could have that privilege revoked if you don't keep up with your studies. And then if you're taking a course for credit recovery, that most common would be like an OW course, and you don't pass, you would be responsible for that course payment as well. There are many revisions to the athletic code. Those can be found online or on our school. In pages 6 through 11 of your packet, that's where all of your athletic forms are for this year, and it has labeled on the bottom there which ones you would need to fill out. If you have any questions, let me or Mr. Woody know. Schedules, we have packed classes, guys, and even though you're spaced far apart, we're getting as many kids as we can in a class, so we really can't allow many schedule changes, unfortunately, unless there's an emergency. So just keep your heads up on that. Between classes is going to look a little different this year. There's going to be no bells. Your teacher is going to dismiss you from class by row, starting with the row closest to the door. Socializing in the halls isn't allowed. Students should go directly from one class to the other. If you're waiting, you should still be socially distanced. You can use your locker. Each grade will use their locker once a day, but that's only during certain passing periods that you'll be allowed to use that locker. And those are listed on the daily schedule, which is in your packet right away, page 1. So if you want to look at that and start peeking, now's a good time. You will be allowed to carry your backpack from class to class if you'd like. In the middle school, you're welcome to have your backpack and just keep it under your chair since you'll be in the same room for most of the day. Speaking of the daily schedule, school's now going to start from 8 o'clock and go until 3 o'clock. ELT was taken out to allow more time with teachers. We'll have a block schedule. That block schedule is going to switch every other day. So we're going to have A days and B days. Essentially, A days would be what would have been your first 4 periods of the day, and B days would be the last 4 periods of the day. You have an AB schedule in your packet in page 2 if you want to peek at that. Looks like this. It has the date, so Tuesday right here is the 1st, and we are on an A day today. That daily schedule in your packet, which is page 1, if you're looking at it, it lists the passing periods. It lists which times you're able to use your locker and your lunch times. Teachers, if you want to just take a second to pause and allow students to ask any questions, now would be a great time for that. Lunch is going to look a little different this year as well. Please look at your daily schedule to see what time you'll be eating lunch on A and B days. When you're excused to go to lunch, you'll go directly to a table, so we won't have a line right away. You'll be excused right from that table to the lunch line from there. If you have first or last lunch in the middle school, we're going to ask that you actually set up and put away your lunch tables. There's just many of them, and Todd doesn't have time to do it all, really, with all the cleaning he has. When you go through the line, please be sure to socially distance. You're going to tell the person your lunch number now instead of typing it in. When you're eating, you don't need to wear a mask. And also a heads up, this is going to be a heartbreaker. There isn't space for activities in the middle school gym because the tables take up the whole gym. And then in the high school gym, the actual gym itself is going to be used each day for classes. So we won't be able to use that after we eat to play basketball and things like that. When the weather's good, we're going to be able to go outside and eat out there, socialize, take a mask break. And your supervisors for lunch will be able to fill you in on what days that's an option. School office update. We're going to try to limit the office traffic as much as possible. So if it's not absolutely necessary for you to go to the office, we'll ask you not to. If you need something printed, please send it to a teacher. If it's for a class, and your teacher will print that at another time. When you guys come to school, you saw that this morning, what that's going to look like. Students should go to your lockers first if you need to, and then right to your first hour class. You're still welcome to eat breakfast. If you are going to eat breakfast, you can go through the line as usual and just sit at a table in the commons in the high school or the gym in the middle school. So right after you go to your locker, you either eat breakfast or go to your first hour class. We're going to have our daily announcements read over the loudspeaker right at 8 o'clock when the day is getting started. Just a heads up on snow days. We're going to keep on learning through those snow days. So please be sure to check your Google Classroom if we do have one of those, which who knows, hopefully not soon. Learning outside, classes will learn outside if possible. You're welcome to bring a chair and keep it against the hall in the hallway. In the high school, it will be that little hall on the entryway kind of by Mrs. K's room. And in the middle school, it will be that hallway outside in the back of the school between the social studies room and the gym. So if you want to bring in a chair in case you do have outside learning, you're welcome to. We just need to keep those as spaced apart as we can and make sure that they're right up against the wall because we do need a place to walk if there is a quick exit needed. Just a reminder, students are not allowed to bring in or use blankets, and that's a rule from the health department. Update on instruction. You guys were told this before. All teachers are using Google Classroom. Teachers will post daily lesson plans, including essential questions. Any sort of online learning activities will also be there. For band, we have 3 sections of band in the high school. You'll be meeting in the music room. 7th and 8th grade sections will still meet during that study hall time on B days, and that will be every other B day. So one B day will be choir, one B day will be band, and then back and forth. Mr. Robish is working with teachers on a lesson schedule, as is Mrs. Leonard. For middle school, men's and women's choir is going to meet that every other B day during that choir day. It will start with men's choir, and that will be tomorrow, the first B day. So if you're in 7th or 8th grade and you're in men's choir, you'll go over to the high school music room. Middle school band will be meeting in the middle school gym. Chromebooks, in order to get your Chromebook, you need 2 things. 1, your parent needs to register online. That's on page 3 of your packet for directions if they haven't done so already. And as well as you need to fill out an acceptable use technology form. It looks like this guy in your packet. And that needs to be completed when you're getting your Chromebook, because you'll need your Chromebook number and case number on that. If you're unsure if that's complete, we're almost done here. You'll raise your hand and your teacher will be able to tell you from a sheet that he or she has whether or not you have that completed. That's all for me. Thank you so much for your patience and cooperation. I know this isn't easy for everyone, but I'm just excited that we're here and we're sticking together and have each other's backs, and it's just going to be a great year. So thank you guys for your patience and understanding and flexibility, and have a great rest of the first day. Thanks, guys.